my name is Amelia Nagoski, and today I'm going to talk about the most important thing in the book. If you only change one thing about your life in order to manage stress better, let it be getting adequate rest. And there are a lot of different kinds of rest. Today, I'm going to be talking about sleep. People ask us a lot of questions about sleep, and of course they do. It's foundational to wellness. So I'm going to link below to some resources that are really thorough and really good and will answer pretty much any questions you could possibly have about sleep. If you have questions about stuff that are not answered in those resources, I highly recommend that you seek a sleep professional. I don't mean a mattress salesman, I mean a medical professional. Look, I'm going to say this thing about sleep, and a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, I know. But there's going to be like 3 people out there who are going to be like me and just genuinely not have ever thought of it this way. And that thing is that sleep is not just rest for your muscles, your body that you can see. It is also rest for your brain. I used to think that your brain was just your brain, your mind, and it was sort of like disembodied and floated around out there and didn't take energy. So like if I was homesick from school, I thought, well, why can't I just, lay in bed and recover from the infection? And then while I'm doing that, I can do my homework. Why doesn't that work? Yes, I have a fever. Yes, I'm all achy. Yes, I have a sore throat, but my brain works fine. So of course I could just learn the lessons. Your brain, as probably the most complicated part of your body, also needs rest. And as you rest just your body by laying down and staring at the ceiling, you're not really resting your brain. In deep sleep, your brain doesn't do much at all. It basically gets to turn off and just not work for a little while. And don't we all need that? So do our brains. And then in REM sleep, your brain is taking through all the stuff you did that day, all the new neural connections that were mapped, and sorting through them, organizing them. It's also allowing you to, relive and recover from and process difficult experiences from the day or the week or your whole past life. It's practicing skills that you learned that day. There's very famous, if you play Tetris all day, you dream about Tetris and you wake up the next day and you're a little better at Tetris, not because you practiced Tetris all night, but because you dreamed about Tetris. That's your brain figuring Tetris out without your conscious mind getting involved. Human beings need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per 24-hour cycle. You might need a little more, you might need a little less. I am a 9-hour sleeper. I thought when I was younger that it was 8 hours. People need 8 hours of sleep, exactly. And I was not well rested after 8 hours. And I thought that meant I was lazy or broken? No, it turns out that's just how much sleep I need. When people feel tired a lot, almost always the answer is get more sleep. So if you're getting less than 7 hours of sleep on the regular, you are probably severely sleep deprived. If you're getting more than 9 hours of sleep and you feel fully rested, that's how much sleep you need. You need 9.5 or 10 hours of sleep. Just some people need more sleep. Emily's like a 7.5 hour sleeper, and that gives her an advantage in the world because we're a puritanical society who kind of thinks that sleep is a little bit of a sin. Your body has a cycle. You might be a night owl whose body functions best at night, and then you're going to sleep, later on towards dawn and then sleep through the morning and then be awake in the afternoon. You might be an early bird where you genuinely go to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 5 a.m., and that's how you function best. If you are, lucky you have an advantage because that's the schedule that capitalism chose. If you are sleep deprived during the week and you sleep extra on the weekend, you can get away with that. Is it ideal? No. Ideally, you have a regular schedule where you're always feeling well rested. So that's how much sleep do you need and when do you need it? And when you're actually in the moment of trying to get to sleep, if you're having a hard time getting to sleep, there are lots of techniques to help with that. The main things to remember is that your body gets the signal to fall asleep when melatonin is released because the world is getting darker. So any amount of light, especially blue light, can interfere with your body's signal, go to sleep. So if you can darken your room or wearing an eye mask is comfortable for you, that may be a thing that helps. Another thing that signals your body at sleepy time is the drop in your body's temperature. So taking a hot bath or shower and then getting in bed, your temperature is going to drop from what it was in the shower. And that temperature dropping is also going to be a cue to your body to fall asleep. Stuff like that. This is all in the resources I'm going to link to in the description. Nobody's shocked, right? Hey, sleep is good for you. Yeah, we know. And I've already alluded to the things that interfere with sleep, like social pressure to work more and work harder, and the sense of there's a moral value to people who sleep less, and that getting more sleep is sort of undeserved luxury. How dare you sleep 8 hours? And we play kind of a stress Olympics. I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night, we say, kind of complaining, but also kind of bragging. That's really bad for our well-being. Especially women are called upon to sacrifice their sleep on the altar of other people's convenience. And if you need receipts on that, I recommend Chapter 7 of Burnout. Okay, so how does this relate to the autistic experience? Well, research shows that people with autism tend to have a harder time getting to sleep and have a harder time staying asleep, which is to say people with autism have a harder time sleeping. This essential thing that is fundamental to wellness is harder for autistic people. And so this is a bone that I have to pick with that study I referenced in the very first introductory video, where they talked to autistic people and said, what's the situation with burnout? And they put together a list of things that cause them stress and barriers to the resources they need. And it was really, really similar to what Emily and I wrote in the book. But because they were asking autistic people what the barriers were, they talked a lot about their experiences in the world, and they didn't talk about the actual neurological differences that mean that it's harder for us to get the things we need. So in the Chapter 6 video about connection is a resource that every human being can access to feel better. It's just harder for autistic people. It's more work with less results. And another really great study that I read was just asking autistic people, hey, what do you do to get to sleep? Sleep is harder for autistic people. How do you handle that? And it had advice gathered from, kind of crowdsourced autistic sleep advice. I will link that also. All of the advice is the regular advice that we give anybody who's having trouble sleeping, The room should be cool. The room should be dark. You can wear a mask. You can darken your room. You can take a hot bath. Having white noise or total silence or listening to a story or listening to music. This is all stuff that neurotypical people do to sleep. We have to do it too, but a higher percentage of us have to do it, and the intensity of the experience is worse. More effort for less result. And this is a feminist book about stress. We address it to women. We wrote the book for me, and I'm a woman, and so I needed woman stuff. So people ask us all the time, well, is there a biological difference between women and men and their response to stress? And the answer is, but the answer for is there a difference between autistic people and how they handle stress is, well, there's a difference in how they can access sleep, not just because of structural barriers, like is the case with women, but the fact that we actually biologically have a different brain structure that makes it more difficult to physically access the sleep we need. So remembering chapters 4 and 5 were about the structural barriers, the way that society rejects autism and just any kind of difference, and all autistic people share a difference, which is in addition to any other differences they may have from the, arbitrary, socially constructed ideal. Ruff, that's Sadie. I'll put a picture of Sadie in so you can see she's so sweet. And the fact that she's barking isn't bad. That's she was so scared and now she's brave and barking, and I'm so happy for her. So what's the solution here? Well, it's all the things that we know that you do to get better sleep, Control the light in your room, control the sound in your room, control the temperature in your room as much as you can. What I'm saying is that we have to do all the same work that neurotypical people do to get sleep. There's no innovative scientific breakthrough that's well, here's how autistic people can access sleep by using their brain powers to... No, that doesn't exist. So where we've landed is that the solutions to actually getting sleep for autistic people are the same as neurotypical people. We just have to work harder and expect less results. So that is going to involve chapter 2, the little monitor, the brain function that deals with frustration. Let go of the fucks. Talk to your nervous system and let it know. Embrace tiger. return to mountain. See, there's a reason we put the chapters in this order, is because they all add up. They're like cumulative knowledge, and then, it adds up to the capacity to do the things at the end. That was on purpose. Not claiming I'm good at it, just claiming I know about it and I practice it and it helps. Does knowing about it help you? Does practicing it help you? Let me know. In the meantime, remember who the real enemy is. Not all the other old folks down here battling the neurological differences that make it harder for us physically to access a resource we need, which is fundamental to wellness, sleep. And also the social pressures that are telling us that we don't deserve sleep, that we're lazy if we want more sleep, that how dare we indulge in the luxury of sleep. Self-care can't battle that message. We need all of us to get together to defend each other from those external messages and let each other know that we deserve those resources without needing to change or become like everyone else. We deserve resources and love and care and sleep just as we are. And remember, that's what I mean when I say the cure for burnout is all of us caring for each other. It's so humid in here that my hair is just curling, and as I keep recording, the curl is tightening and tightening, and this was like a straight thing earlier today, and now I look like a flapper.